Hello guys, we'll be reacting to Alex Meyer's Squid Game video.
Game. The show literally everyone's still talking about. I mean, it came out on Netflix like a month or so ago, and you know who's been shutting up about it? Nobody. I mean, look at how many YouTube videos there are about this show. You want to read hundreds of pages of expose, essay, deep dives about the, should I let my little Jalen, Balin, Kalen watch the newfangled Squid Game kid show? It's like the biggest thing there ever was. At the beginning of 2021, the biggest thing ever was Bridgerton, the show about the struggles and hardships of being the only attractive redhead in all of London. And then now, some 10 months later, the biggest thing in the history of Netflix is a show about... Well, actually, Alex, if I may interject, the show with the heroine kill about how capitalism and communism will both drive people to do all kinds of horrible actions to get Now, I'll just come out and say, okay, I actually liked Squid Game. I know. I'm like so brave. But like, I've seen tons of discourse over the last month or so about how, everyone's just trying to tell me what the show's really trying to say, man. And like, yeah, I enjoyed the show a fair amount, okay? It was fun to watch.
I'm so deep, smart.
Sort of, kind of, fine, whatever. But I gotta be honest here. It's not that good. No, I'm just gonna assume that if you had any interest
You did not watch the show. You nuts.
in watching a Squid Game at all, you would have already done so by this point, so I'm just gonna talk about whatever I want, okay? No spoiler warnings, only friendship warnings. Oh! So here we go.
Why Squid Game is kinda dumb.
Well, actually, the show itself is fine, but there's just some choices they made I thought were a little weird. Also, I realize I'm like the millionth person to make a video about this, so I'm probably not saying anything particularly original right now, but whatever, here we go.
But before that, really quick, this video is brought to you by Privacy.com.
Okay,
Privacy is a service that
yeah.
lets you buy stuff online using like virtual debit cards instead of having to use your actual real credit card. And of course, by doing this, it
So all throughout Squid Game, there's the central mystery about like what the games are and who's doing it, why they're doing it, that kind of stuff.
Not really.
Why do you do it? How can you? You bet on horses. It's the same here, but we bet on humans.
And so after the main guy wins, which of course we all saw coming like 3 miles away, he goes back home to get back to his life as normal, except now he has his bank account with like $45 bajillion in it. I mean, come on, just think of how many Zac Efron posters you could buy with that much money. Also, like, no word whatsoever from the government about like where this money came from or how much taxes you have to pay now or anything, It's just like, sorry, you've been unemployed for several years now? Yeah. And now you got $45 million? Yep. Huh. Well, that's weird. Now, the one part I really liked about the ending, as far as some kind of, like, emotional climax or whatever, is how, like, the whole point of him playing the games in the first place was mainly just to pay for his mom's medical bills, and then also so he could be, or feel like he was, a good dad to his estranged daughter who's recently moved to the U.S. with a new stepdad, that kind of stuff, right? So he goes back to see his mom, and he finds out that during the games, sometime over the last couple days or whatever, she died.
Come on. I'm home now, Mom. Got some money for us now.
And, like, this should have been, like, an incredibly important moment. Like, he plays these death games, he survived all everything he went through, and comes home to this. I think this kind of maybe should have been, like, the end of the show. He's got this card now with his new bank account, but then his dead mom is sitting there. He's showing how, like, he won the game, and he got all the money he could ever want, but then in the process, he lost the most important thing, like, the reason he was doing it in the first place. He finally has more money than he could ever spend, but he never got the help or even say goodbye to his mom. I think this would have been a really symbolic, just emotional gut punch of an ending that would have worked quite well. But then we get like the actual ending, which, I mean, the whole time I was watching it, I'm just like... So long story short, he gets invited to go meet the guy in charge of the Squid Games, or like whatever they're actually called. And surprise, it's the old guy.
Pour some water in there.
Oh yeah. This moment caught me off. It caught me off guard, okay? I was not. And I mean when I say this, I was not expecting this. This just came out of that freaking nowhere, okay?
Yep, turns out he's the billionaire dude running the whole thing, and he wanted to play the games one last time before his brain tumor, did brain tumor stuff. And then he gives this explanation about why he did all this stuff.
Why did you do something like this?
Do you know
I just
what
want to
someone who
afford.
doesn't have any money has in common with someone with too much money? Living is no fun for either of them. If you have too much money, then it Doesn't matter what you buy or eat or drink or whatever. It all gets boring.
What? So, like, basically, what we're supposed to take away from this is, like, how being mega rich is not really so different than being poor, you know?
No,
Because, like,
no,
life's boring,
bullshit,
dude.
okay?
And that's what we're supposed to take away from the show?
I don't feel Bezos lives a happier life than I do. You can't give unless you can't convince me that it's not true, okay?
Oh, no, okay, the real moral of Squid Game is,
Old people suck at using money.
because, like, this old dude's just sitting there in his diapers or whatever, you know, and then one day he's like, I have too much money. Should I A, help feed starving children, B, finance animal shelters, or C, buy another boat? Trick question, the answer is D, watch poor people play Double Dare. You know, when you get right down to it, like, Squid Game is really just Lord of the Flies meets every 90s Nickelodeon game show.
Let me welcome you all to the fifth game. The fifth game is glass stepping stone. The stepping stones before you are made from one of two types of glass. One will be tempered glass, and the other will be normal glass.
But, like, come on, Mr. Rich Man. Like, you couldn't have even just done the Squid Games, but with, like, cute little dogs, you know? And then, like, the one dog who wins, he gets to play in the ball pit. And the dogs who lose
Someone did one with hamsters.
also get to play in the ball pit because all dogs are winners. Really, though, in a way, I guess it's kind of good that the whole thing was run by this dude who's, like, 170. His favorite games were, like, red light, green light, and marbles or whatever.
You know, when I was a kid, I lived in a neighborhood just like this.
So did I. And you know something? Our alleyway looked very
Really?
similar.
Because, like, if someone my age was in charge of this thing, it would have just been like, okay, first physical challenge. You got to find the flag on the giant nose, and then you got to run on the 1-ton hamster wheel, and then if you can put the silver monkey statue together correctly, you win this cool Garfield phone and a lifetime supply of High School Musical DVDs. But then behind the scenes, I'm actually just harvesting the mystical powers of Mark Summers' mullet. Because, I mean, look at this thing. Look at this majestic beauty. I mean, you just want to put my face in and go, but jokes aside, the whole ending explanation of this show is so stupid. He's like, I'll bet you anything no one's going to help that homeless guy on the street, just like no one's gonna help me right now. Quick, tell me how to open a PDF. Rosebud. Well, actually, Alex, it's symbolic of how, in the end, money doesn't really matter and doesn't make you happy because you should struggle for things to earn them and then you appreciate them more. Oh, is that so? Well, why don't you just go tell it to everybody watching this who doesn't have any money, okay? Let's see how they feel about that. But yeah, so turns out the whole Squid Game thing was just some old dude who's bored because he's too rich and he couldn't think of any other way to use his wealth. Nothing else came to mind besides watching the poorest kill each other for money. Just rich people things.
Old people suck.
Now, this part's not really important to the show, like, really. I mean, you could have cut almost all of this out, and it would have changed basically nothing. But it's there, and it's prominent, and I gotta say, these dudes right here almost ruined the entire show for me. I mean, it's unwatchably cringy, like, every time any one of them opens their mouth. Like, this whole part is so bad. It feels like a Lele Pond skit.
What's that thing?
Looks like a bridge of some sort.
Yeah, I like them.
What
I
convinced you
I kind of like them, okay?
to bet so much on number 69?
Oh, it's such a beautiful number, 69. Just tell us about the next game. How long you gonna string us along like this?
He's in a bad mood because of 69. Better tell him quickly.
Who are you bidding on this time?
96.
What's your reason?
Well, if I can't do 69, I'll try 96.
Freaking
Not
shut
funny.
up! Stop talking! I'm actually kind of impressed in a way just how, like, the casting director was able to find this many old white dudes in South Korea who are all just like, if jerking off to Wayne's World was a person. And, like, I get that's supposed to give us all this lore about who's behind the games and, like, oh, this is how rich people spend their time.
I am dying to know what this next game is. Give us a hint, will you?
As much as I'd like to, sir. I'd hate to ruin the fun for it.
I'm honestly kind of happy since it gave us, insight into a second season. I am more worried about a second season. This show doesn't feel like it needs a second season. But I'm waiting to see if it can pull it off. Okay?
Everyone. The games this edition have been amazing.
Right, the contest in Korea was the best.
Oh my goodness. Even just watching it back now is causing me physical pain. Why is any of this here? You could have just had them sitting in a room quietly, not saying a single gosh darn word, especially you over there. And we still would have gotten the same idea about how, like, the games are bigger than just South Korea. Like, it's a global phenomenon or whatever. Rich people everywhere just rounded up poor people, watching them play with Yu-Gi-Oh cards and skip-its.
Now kids come gather round, see what just skipped into town, so skip
Just to reiterate myself here, I liked Squid Game well enough, okay? Like, I don't really get why it took off the way it did, and everything the show was building towards turned out to be really friggin' dumb. Because they just had to do the thing that, like, every modern show does, where they over-explain things that aren't that deep, and then not explain things that actually would have been interesting. Like, who are these dudes? What's their story? Why are they, like, totally cool with killing all these people? Like, we know they're young 20-somethings for the most part, but, like, what's going on with all this? And then the very end of the show, when he decides not to go see his daughter and instead goes back to the Hunger Games to get revenge or whatever.
If you wish to play, please state
Oh
your
yeah,
name.
he became an animated character.
Sungyeon, October 31st, 1974. Listen carefully. I want to know who you people are and how you can do these horrible things to people. I'm not a horse.
I'm a real boy. But, like, the old guy's dead, and the games are just kind of going autonomously, I guess, or whatever. So, like, who is he getting revenge against? Also, what is he even mad about? Like, he chose to play the game and then leave and then go back again. So, like, I don't know, man. It kind of seems like you did most of this to yourself. Oh, well, actually, Alex, I'm supposed to represent how society makes people feel crap, and therefore the characters of the show feel like
He has a point. He has a point, Alex.
No choice but to go back to the... Okay, all right, thanks for watching, everybody. Oh, boy, can't wait to read the comments on this one. Dear Alex Myers, I watched your pathetic video on Squid Game, and in the following 87 paragraphs, I will outline why you are wrong about everything you said about the aforementioned Squid Game, because even though the show was really only 2 inches deep, so am I. Part 1, a comprehensive history on South Korea.
Okay. Well, that was all for today, guys. So, like and subscribe if you like this and watching a random kid. Goodbye.